Hello, I am Jeff Africa, introducing my second video of the week, of the month, of the last couple of weeks. So hooray, and I feel pretty good about this. I actually did this already, but the sound blew off, so I have to do it all over again. So here I am, and we are going to continue on our search for the heart. I would like to take this moment to thank two ladies I know. LL out there and AD out there, gently kneeing me in the groin to get this thing going, telling me if you're going to do something, now is the time. So I am going to take them up on that, and that's indeed what I'm doing here. These two ladies I respect and admire both. Actually, I should be inspiring them, but it didn't work out. Here we go. I understand too that you don't really believe when I said last video that I was tapped on the shoulder by the source to work with her. I know that, you know, that's a hard thing to believe, and I understand that. I can only tell you the truth. What you guys decide to do with it, I don't, concern myself with. But if it comes out of this mouth here, okay, if I say something, I may not say everything all the time, but if I take the trouble to say something, it's simply going to be the truth. I have no interest in BSing anybody about anything. So just so you know, okay, if it comes out of this mouth, it's going to be the truth. You can verify this when you get back to the other side. I just wanted to bring that up and say that. Maybe I shouldn't even have said it, but it is out there, and it's true. Okay, it really is true. Okay, the question that would arise then, if I did give it up, if I said to myself, I've had it here this time around, and I am going to be leaving. I'll live. I'll do enough to survive, but I'm giving this one up. Then exactly what am I doing here? You're thinking, Jeff. Now, didn't you say you gave it up? Then if that's so, what are you doing here? That's what you're asking. Are you just talking when you said you give it up? Well, that leads us to the next part of my story. Now, if one does give it up, which I did, and said, that's it. I'm done trying here. What would be the next most brilliant thought to have? If one entertained that first not so bright thought, okay? What would be the next most brilliant thought to have? Who out there has the answer to that? Come on, I'm listening. Who? The next brilliant thought to have would be that I'm going to start preparing for next lifetime, you see? And that is a brilliant thought. It really is. Who thinks that way? But I never want to go through what I've gone through the early part of my life again. Not this eternity. Maybe the following eternity, after this eternity, I can discuss it and we can try, having to do that again. But this eternity here, I don't want to go through this again. So I just decided I'm get ready for next lifetime. When I hit next lifetime, I'm going to hit the ground running. So along the way then, I came across Paramahansa Yogananda's energization exercises, which is a way of tensing your muscles and drawing in energy from the universe. I came across, these were sent to me by God herself when I asked for help. I came across Sri Sri Ravi Shankar's Sudarshan Kriya, okay, which is called Sky Breath now, I think, is what they're calling it, but it's called Sudarshan Kriya. And I learned both of them, okay, I began to employ them differently, and there's a whole big story about that. We'll get into that later, but we don't have time to do that now. So I knew of them, I practiced them, and they have been extremely helpful. Okay, so I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I was working nights, so I could do this. I got up at 4 in the morning. Okay, I stretched for about 20 minutes. I meditated for about an hour. I went down to the local swim pool and swam a 35-minute swimming workout. I'm a pro-style swimmer. I've been swimming since I've been 11 years old on teams and everything. I can get a lot of work done in the pool in 35 minutes. A lot of excellent work, all focused, all attentive, all intentioned, very, very compact, complete workout, and it was a joy to do. Okay, I did this about 4 days a week, by the way, for about 2 years. Then I'd go up to the reservoir above Los Gatos. I would do on a little bluff that I had there, I would do the energization exercises. All right, an 18-minute process, 18 to 20-minute process. Then I would slip down to this little area. I had a little a poop pillow next to a little bit of a brook when it was in the rainy season. And I would do the Sudarshan Kriya by Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, okay? And then I recommend them both, look them up, and you can get to them, and I recommend them highly, both, and we'll talk more about them as we go along. And then I would meditate for another 35-40 minutes. Okay, now that's almost 3.5 hours worth of stuff, not including drive time, okay? The meditation that was so nice after that, Sudarshan Kriya is a breathing pranayamic technique, okay? And it takes me about 50 minutes to 50 to about an hour to complete. And I would meditate, and I would get this really nice violet patch as I meditated that second time. It only happens to me there at that location. It's the oddest thing, but it's a beautiful little light violet patch to stir up to make a meditation really pleasant. Meditation for me is very pleasant now, generally speaking. I have a lot of meditation hours under my belt, and we'll talk about that as we go further. Now, for that effort, I always felt like I was a warrior. I did that in ways that people don't really do things. I did them in total intention and attention to detail, and I felt like a warrior or an athlete priming for the biggest goal, the biggest gold medal you can get. Okay, the gold medal of higher consciousness at the time, and. So for that effort, about 2 hours after that, I felt a type of consciousness that I was okay with. I wasn't that oppressed hole in the center of my being, oppressed sort of a consciousness that didn't allow you to breathe. But after that regimen, I got 2 hours, roughly 2 hours, 2.5 hours of a consciousness that I really had no problem with. I said, now, if this was my normal consciousness state, I move forward. I don't really have a being problem. This has all been a being problem that I've had all along, and that solved it for a couple of hours. And then the rest of the day, where there'd be subtle benefits, but it would kind of go away in a way. So that's 3.5 hours worth of work for 2 hours worth of consciousness that I could live with. But that's not a good return. Really, let's face it. Who can do that? Who could do what I did? Generally speaking, few of you could, but. It was quite unusual to get that done. It was like the greatest thing I've ever done on earth. The only great thing really I've done on earth. Holding that regiment for 2 years, roughly 4, sometimes 5 times a week, and what kept me doing it was those 2 hours. That 2 hours of a consciousness. In other words, by the sweat of my brow, I got to a place where I thought was not great, not the best, but was doable. It was very, very nice. It was very, very nice indeed. And so I got that, and I slowly started. I reset my brain chemistry. My brain chemistry was poor. Okay, and we'll talk about why that was too. And that regimen reset my brain chemistry out of that depressiveness that I was suffering from all along, an anxietal complex I was discovering or suffering from all along. And that solved that problem. No pills. I didn't take any antidepressants. I didn't do anything. I didn't go to the doctors and wondering what. I did it by myself, by that regimen, and that regimen reset my brain chemistry. And so I pulled myself up out of that hole that I was in. As I meditated more and doing things like that, I decided, gee, I'm starting to feel okay. Maybe I can do something this lifetime. Maybe I can get something done. And then as I found out how what a critical time this is to be alive on Earth, I decided to do this really at the behest of some people I know. They were speaking to people like me, not only me, but people like me, LL and AD, and suggesting, come on. So I said, okay, I'll try to do that. Get that done. I have a new perspective on that whole darkness too. I mean, it was heavy duty darkness, and I have new perspective and new respect for it because it's that contrast, that deep depth of horribleness and awfulness and hell-like existence. When I get to the heart resonance, when I fall from my head to the heart and learn to live and perceive and experience and walk and talk and treat others and listen with that heart resonance, that the reward is going to be that much sweeter, because I have the contrast of hell, a personal hell, to compare it to. Do you see what a wonderful thing that is going to be? The contrast, that's why we invented fear, we'll talk about that later too, is to provide contrast to love, okay? If you exist in a love all the time, it doesn't feel like love necessarily, but if you have it to contrast from fear, then you understand, you can feel it more, you can feel it more completely. And that's the game we're playing here on earth. And I played it in spades, you know. It's going to yield me a way more satisfying take on this whole process by having that contrast. If I lived a good life, number one, I probably wouldn't feel the need to do all the stuff I did. But the contrast would be less there, and it'll sort of appreciate it even less. And so I had gained new perspective on that darkness, which I was so pissed off about it. Now I'm beginning to see that having a certain kind of a purpose. And maybe that was planned for me coming into this life, saying, Jeff, get down there, cover yourself with darkness, and see how great you are. You know, that's what this whole thing has been about. I told a therapist one time, you know, look, we're fairly free in America. You know, they've done a good job at respecting our freedom, generally speaking. But I know, and I am walking around in a mental prison. You know, what good is political freedom if we're still all in prison? Well, it is good. You know, it is good to be politically free, but we are still all walking around in prison. We have relative different degrees of it. I could see it completely. Others people see it vaguely. But everybody, I think, knows that they should know that they're not satisfied with this mind prison that we find ourselves in. And that's what I even thought all along. This is one of my 20s. I said, you know, we're in prison. Everybody's in a mental prison. You know, what are we going to do about that? And no matter what you do in life, no matter what successes you have, even if you succeed a lot, if you don't get out of that prison, if you don't get out of the ego mind, in a way, I've seen enough people to know that have done good things in their life, accomplishments and things like that. I've seen them at the end of their lives not looking very good, not being very good, a little lost. Their victories, hard-won victories back all along the path, almost seem like they belong to somebody else at this point. And I can see that something is missing, even to these people who have done things that a lot of us would say, well, that was a great life. But if you don't make that shift, if you don't get out of that mental prison, you're going to deteriorate with that mental prison. I've seen it. And it's just not a good way to end up. You'll missed the boat in a way. If you don't go for spiritual advancement, spiritual growth, at the end of your life, no matter what you've done, there's a little satisfaction. There really is. I've seen it enough to know. All right? Look, at those of us that are connected to this whole process have a lot to do now. I have a lot on our plates. A lot of information flying at us. Things we have to pertain to, things such as pineal gland activation. We have to have the third eye opening, try to achieve the third eye opening, which is, as Jesus said, if thine eye be single, your whole body fills with light. That's what he means. If we can get that third eye opening and looking through there, that's what happens. Your whole body will fill with light and you'll become a different person. We have to develop a love relationship with our own soul. All right. We have to have the soul seat at the center of our being and help mitigate all the different personalities we have going on within us. Our adolescent self, our inner child, our adult self, our personality, all these conflicting things. We have to develop a relationship with our soul, a loving relationship with our soul, and have that mitigate all these different parts of ourselves that we'll be talking about too. We have an inner son. Jeshua ben Joseph, Jesus says we have an inner son. If we can concentrate on enlivening, getting that bigger and more powerful, it is a wonderful thing to emanate to the rest of the world, expanding the inner sun. Diamond core heart behind our regular card. We have to activate and harmonize our chakras system to assist in this whole process. We have to develop a divine romance with God herself. as we go forward. God herself sits in the heart, really, and Jeshua sits there too. And they are waiting for us to get there. Okay, so we have to develop a divine romance with God herself. And so this is a lot of stuff to do. And may I ask, who's really doing any of it? You know what I mean? Who? Go ahead, raise your hand. Who's doing it? Giuseppe? Who? It is, no one's really doing. Oh, I'd say no one, but no one really knows how. No one really. It's just a lot to do. We all talk about it. That's a wonderful thing to talk about it. But we're all talking about it. But who's really doing anything about it? Who is really getting to these places? So this is what this channel is all about. I've picked one. Okay, we are going to get from the head to the heart. Okay, I know I can do that, and then the rest is going to make a little bit more sense to us once we get there. So I'm just picking one, and let's go for this. Let's do this. Let's do something about all of these things rather than reading about it and listening to it and thinking how nice it is. But let's get it done. That's what this is about right here, right now. Like I said, no matter if you don't take steps in this direction, no matter what you do in life, it's going to yield little satisfaction. Some, shortly, for a while. But ultimately you get bogged down by being in the prison of the mind, okay? I'm trying to keep this at a reasonable time frame so I don't go over, because no one really wants to watch this too long, because I do that. So I'm going to cut it off right here. I have some more to say. But this is a how-to channel. It's the most important how-to channel on YouTube right now, because it's the most pertinent. How to dissolve that mind, demagnetize the mind, fall into the heart, and live and perceive and experience life from that heart, treat others from that heart, and this is what this is going to be about. I'm supposed to be really good at this, okay? I'm supposed to be good that you wouldn't believe the messages the universe was sending me on this very thing, me getting up and doing this sort of thing. So if I get rolling on this, we could have some fun. My name is Jeff Africa. I'm a citizen of Earth. I'm a loyal patriot of the United States of America, and I am not afraid. The four that I have at my back: God herself, Jeshua ben Joseph, Paramahansa Yogananda, and Mother Earth. These are the ones that I love. These are the ones that cut my check. These are the ones that have my back. These are the ones I turn to when I need help. These are the ones that are going to help me see this through. With them at my back, I cannot fail. And it is going to be a interesting ride. And I'm going to do it right in front of you, and then you're going to want to come along. I think that's going to be it. So let us get this done, and I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you the next video. And always remember, the game is afoot. Okay. All right. Signing off. I'll see you next video. Bye.